Just math, y'all. Today we are going to be looking at polynomial inequalities and rational inequalities. So, first up, a polynomial inequality. This one is a quadratic, and all we're going to do, we've done these before, we're going to set it equal to 0 and solve it, factor if needed, and with each one of these answers that we get, we're going to create intervals and our number line. Then we're going to plug in test numbers. So let's get started. I'm going to factor this first, and this is going to factor into x minus 8 and x minus 3. And so x equal 8 and x equal 3. Well, let's go ahead and mark it out. X minus 8 equals 0 means x is equal to 8, and x minus 3 equals 0, x is equal to 3. Okay, so these are my numbers. These are the numbers that equal 0. Our inequality wants us to do greater than 0. This is not open. This is a not open. It is open, excuse me, it is open. It is an open. And so greater than 0 means positive. All right, we'll get to that in just a second. Okay, so we've set it equal to 0 and solved. Now we're going to create intervals from our number line. So I'm going to draw us a little number line here. And on the left, we have our negative infinity. On the right, we have our positive infinity. And I'm going to put the numbers 3 and I'm going to put the numbers 8 on my number line. There's 3 and there's 8. Right? And so if you remember, that's 3 and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And that would be 2, 1, 0, negative 1, and negative 2. So there we go. There's our number line. And the intervals that are here on our number line, based on the numbers that we've chosen, the 3 and the 8, are negative infinity to 3, that's this chunk, 3 to 8, and then 8 to positive infinity. Those are the intervals on my number line. Now, we're going to plug in. We're going to plug in numbers from our interval to test. Step 3 says test plug-in numbers. So in this first one, there's a number in here I'm going to test. I'm going to test 0. So I'm going to plug in 0. Now I'm going to use the factored form to plug in. So that would be 0 minus 8 times 0 minus 3. And the question is that greater than 0? Greater than 0 is positive. So that would be negative 8 times a negative 3, and that is positive. Because a negative times a negative is a positive. In the middle over here, I'm going to test a number in the middle over here. So I could test any of those numbers. I'm going to test 5. So I'm going to plug in 5. 5 minus 8 and 5 minus 3. I'm actually not going to subtract. I know that's a negative. I know that's a positive. And a negative times positive is a negative. Over here, I'm going to pick a number in this section. So I'm going to test, let's do 11. It doesn't matter. And we'll do 11 minus 8 and 11 minus 3. That's a positive number. That's a positive number. A positive times a positive is a positive. Now, I could actually calculate the number, but I don't need to. Not for this situation. Okay, so now step 4 is not written here, but I guess technically step 4 is now determine your answer. Well, what's the question? That's always the problem. What's the question? The question is, what are the x values that produce a greater than 0? Greater than 0 is positive. So according to this, all of these numbers produce a positive. And these numbers are the numbers from negative infinity up to 3. And these numbers produce a positive. So all of those numbers greater than 8. So my official answer is the interval from negative infinity to 3. It's open. And then from 8 to positive infinity, and we put the union, and that's my answer. We've done these before. We're going to get to do some more. Here's another one. This one is already in factored form, and it has 3 factors. Okay, so we're going to have a lot more sections. We're going to have a lot more plugging in, but we're going to do the same thing. We're going to set each one of these equal to 0 and solve. This one says less than or equal to 0. So less than or equal to 0, which means negative or 0. Okay, so x minus 4 equals 0 is 1/8. It's going to produce an answer. X is equal to 4. X minus 5 equals 0 produces x equal 5. And x minus 8 equals 0 produces x equal 8. So now I'm going to draw my number line, and I'm going to put these numbers on my number line. This is negative infinity, this is positive. Okay, now I am going to space them out. This number line is not to scale. I do know that 4 comes first, then 5, and then 8. And so this will be 8, and then 9, and 10, 5, 6, 7. But here's where the issue comes. What is between 4 and 5? 4.5. And then 3, 2, 1. Okay, so x equals 4 is an answer because 4 makes my problem equal to 0. 5 makes my problem equal to 0. And 8 makes my problem equal to 0. So those are all answers. They're all colored in. You've got the equal part on our 0. Those are all part of our answers. So now we're going to do our test numbers. We have 4 sections. And so this first one, I'm going to test a number. Let's see what number would I like to test. So this is the interval negative infinity to 4, and it's closed. And I'm going to test 2. So I'm going to plug in 2 to my polynomial. 2 minus 4, 2 minus 5, and 2 minus 8. Now, I'm not actually going to do it. Okay? This is a negative. This one's a negative. And this is a negative. It's technically a negative 2, a negative 3, and a negative 6. It doesn't matter to me. The answer is going to be a negative because a negative times a negative is a positive. A positive times a negative is a negative. My answer is negative. I don't need to know what the number is. I need to know, is it positive or negative? All right, next, we're going to test 4.5. This is the interval from 4 to 5. And this is exactly why we don't need to know what it is because we definitely do not want to deal with all these decimals. But 4.5 minus 4, that's a positive. 4.5 minus 5, that's a negative. And if I did 4.5 minus 8, that's also a negative. So again, that's the reason why we don't actually do the numbers. We don't need to know this crazy decimal here. But a negative times a positive is a negative, and a negative times a negative is a positive. So I get a positive in this situation. Alright, so now I'm going to plug in a number in the next section. We got 4 sections this time. It's a lot of extra work, but we can do it. So this is going to be from 5 to 8. And I'm going to test 6. Why not? So I'm going to do 6 minus 4 times 6 minus 5 times 6 minus 8. Again, this is positive, but this is negative. So I'm going to get a negative. last section is going to be from, excuse me, get the right color here, from 8 to positive infinity. I'm going to test 9. So we're going to do 9 minus 4, that's positive. 9 minus 5, that's positive. And 9 minus 8, that's also positive. Positive times positive times positive. Okay. Alright, so I set it equal to 0. I did that. I created my intervals. I did that. And I plugged in all my test numbers. I did that. That was a lot of work. Now we need to determine our answer. What is our answer? Okay, what is the question? The question says, what x's are going to produce less than or equal to 0? 4, 5, and 8 produce equal 0. We did that right there. And then we plugged in the numbers. Less than 0 means negative. So this section produces negatives, and this section produces negatives. So those are the intervals that produce negatives. So I've got negative infinity to 4, and I've got 5 to 8. I'll put my u in between them, and that's my answer. All right, I got some rational ones coming up in the next video, so hold tight. It's just math.